Island News.
Our UK viewers will probably already be aware of this, but our, the others of the group might not know. But soon they will. This is going to be you're going to see how things get internationally accepted very quickly, right? Just because there's not a global governance doesn't mean that it doesn't act like one. So this is about the nanny state internet. You may have read about, the UK's recent internet safety law. So we're going to get into a bit. This is Laura at Normal Island News, right? And this is going to be, just get your sarcasm hats on, right? This is going to be heavily sarcastic, but they write, UK government celebrates ruining entire internet for whole world to save 0 children from harm. The Online Safety Act came into effect 2 days ago and has been a roaring success, ruining the entire internet for everyone to save 0 children from harm. Western bureaucrats have hailed it as the most important step towards authoritarianism since the US agreed to ban TikTok for Israel. Excitingly, you can no longer decide what you see on the internet to protect a handful of kids whose parents did not bother with parental controls. Those kids are now so safe that they can access all the bad things by visiting sites that are too small to be affected by the rules. What matters is you can't access your preferred content without permission from an AI. Social media companies are even hiding your own posts from you until they can verify it's safe for you to see them. We can't be too careful, can we? The launch of the Online Safety Act has been so successful that it has impacted people who are not even British and don't even live in the UK. One German photographer was blocked from seeing their own photographs to protect children from seeing landscapes. Personally, I think it's brilliant the UK government introduced a policy their own voters don't want that has impacted people way beyond their jurisdiction. Remember a few years ago when GDPR was introduced, and everyone agreed you should not give more personal information to websites than is absolutely necessary. Well, now we've decided the opposite. Websites are demanding a copy of your ID or access to your email address book, which enables the government to obtain your entire digital footprint, including all the websites you signed up for, all the companies you've done business with, all the people you've interacted with, and all the OnlyFans girls you subscribe to. Perhaps the best part of the act is the facial scans, which are conducted by artificial intelligence to guess your age. The government actually wanted full body scans, but some do-gooders decided that might be too intrusive, so you have to get your face scanned instead. One woman was permanently banned from her own Discord server after it rejected her ID, and AI decided she looked too young to be 18. Yes, we are penalizing people for youthful looks now. Let's be honest, it's only what those...
they'll fingered me.
Again, we are penalizing people for youthful looks, so Collin's going to be penalized. Let's be honest, it's only what those bastards deserve. Who do you think they are? Staying pretty while the rest of us get fat, gray, and wrinkly. I hate those bastards so much. Damn youthful fucking not Asian motherfuckers. So people in the UK are using Norman Reedus' highly detailed face from Death Stranding to get past newly... So the kids, Collin, the youths, they be figuring out ways to deal with this, right? And they're just using video game faces. Apparently that gets you around this. Yeah, I wanted to pull up because this is happening literally as we speak. Where is it at? Let's do this and this. So if you logged into your Spotify account recently, right? It's also doing this, right? If it'll load, hurry up, do the thing, do the stuff. You could do it. Internet, I believe in you. So look, age restricted content and checking your age. We partner with Yoti, a trusted digital identity company, to help us identify if users are eligible age to access some Spotify content and features like music videos that are labeled as 18 plus by rights holders. So this is happening to multiple places, right? But yeah, not good.
Including YouTube now.
I'll get to it. Yeah. So while the Minority Report World Labor has created its most brilliant, there have sadly been some unintended consequences. For example, Sir Keir Starmer was banned from social media after AI mistook his face for an anus and accused him of obscenity. Starmer's face has now been banned from the internet, to the relief of the very worst people. Thankfully, Starmer is the only person who matters who has been unfairly impacted by the Online Safety Act. So, unquestionably, the most successful part of the act has been how it has blocked posts from Gaza for everyone who doesn't submit to mass surveillance. Brilliantly, many of these people are now using VPNs, unaware most are operated by Israel, so they're handing over their data either way. We are entering a brave new world where everyone who objects to genocide is monitored so that they can be marked for censorship, imprisonment, or execution. Those who opt out of the system can no longer object to genocide, and children can no longer see objections to genocide. This should negate the risk of them growing up developing a conscience. Aren't you glad your kids' minds are being controlled because you were too lazy to monitor their internet use? Mind control is essential for the safety of children everywhere. Apart from the children in Gaza, who cares about those? So, yeah. This is from Ricky Hale over at Council of State Media, who writes the Online Safety Act is not about protecting kids, right? It's about protecting war criminals, as we just alluded to. Been a day since the OSA came into effect, right, to protect the children, and political posts are being removed from social media left, right, and center. I had one post removed by Meta for nudity that contained no nudity. It simply mentioned the Pornhub situation and how adults are expected to show their passports or credit cards or have their faces scanned or even their email contacts scanned by porn and social media sites. And definitely look into who owns those sites. That might also behoove you.
Right.
Artificial intelligence decided my political comment might contain nudity. It didn't, and it was removed. Other users are being told that social media posts are being hidden in their region for users who have not verified their age. On many sites, users are not given a way to verify their age and cannot access content they could access the day before. It's preposterous and very deliberate. This, of course, has nothing to do with protecting the children. Many of these censored posts are related to Gaza. So, due to local laws, we are temporarily restricting access. You'll be seeing that. The Online Safety Act is just the latest in a line of measures to censor people for political speech in the UK, and it might be the most draconian yet. Just imagine putting security cameras in every street corner that are monitored by AI. Imagine every time the AI flags inappropriate behavior, the person must be arrested and will then be jailed unless they can prove their innocence. Imagine every building you try to access demands your ID. Anyone could see that for what it is: authoritarianism. Authoritarianism is not an acceptable approach to child safety in the real world, so why would we accept it in the digital world? People do not want these measures, and they did not vote for them. So this is how things are being done, right? This is your email-based digital footprint age estimation, right? So you select verify by email, you put in your email address, sends you a link, users click the link, right? But here's what it does. It analyzes your financial institutions, your utility providers, and your public records, right, to estimate your age. Okay? So it looks at what's in your email and sees if you meet that requirement, right? So, and this is just one of the ways, right? The UK has a terrorism act that jails grannies for protesting against genocide, and an online safety act that hides Gaza images until you sacrifice online privacy. Put simply, we're losing our freedoms day by day to protect genocidal Israel. The Online Safety Act places ludicrous demands on social media companies, such as taking harmful content down immediately. Ludicrously, companies are expected to remove content that is legal. Yet it is illegal to allow legal content on social media now. My head hurts too. The term harmful is so nebulous that an AI must judge if there is any possibility of harm and remove that post. As has already happened to me, this means we are no longer free to speak on the internet without permission from an AI. Websites are expected to share data on targeted ads and content moderation, meaning it's a matter of time until the mother of all data leaks happens, which that's already happening. Go look at what happened with the T app, right? Like that's already a thing. I think Twitter also got, a bunch of IDs got leaked, right? So they are even required to scan your personal encrypted messages, meaning there is a legal requirement for them to spy on you. Under 18s are not allowed to use direct messages. Perhaps the most ludicrous aspect of the act is that the government rejected age verification at the device or browser level. While this would have still been intrusive, it would have been a one-time thing. Instead, they've decided you must verify your identity with every site that meets certain criteria, mostly the big sites. One stupid thing about this legislation is that smaller sites are not affected by the rules to the same extent, meaning this does little to protect children from accessing content. Instead, it stops adults from accessing that content unless they sacrifice their privacy. Who the hell is having their face scanned for porn or handling over credit card details to Wikipedia? All this means is that smaller sites will get a boost in popularity and bigger sites could face ruin. However, some of the smallest sites say they will also be forced to close. It looks like one of the least controversial mid-sized companies are safe here. I'm sure this is all part of the plan. It's worth noting these measures are not just impacting the UK. Some EU countries are trialing them along with some US states. Countries like Australia and Canada are introducing similar measures soon. Mark my words, this won't stop at age verification. They will continue finding new measures for censorship and control. Next step will likely be digital IDs. The era of the free internet is over. So, any thoughts before I get to our last little bit of this?
I mean, I know you. Well, I'll say this. I watched the Crystal Ball interview that she did with I forgot that senator's name right now, but they mentioned, well, the senator mentioned that, Israel is an ally because we share. Now, she's CIA. She's a former CIA agent. Well, she says former CIA, but I believe
no
once
such thing.
CIA, always CIA,
Yeah.
or whatever. But she mentioned, like, Crystal pressed her in terms of, why are we allies with Israel when they're clearly committing war crimes? And the senator's excuse was, Alyssa Schlotskin said, they're our allies because we share information with them, essentially. So, but the thing is, it's kind of like a double. But here's the issue with this: it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because the information that they share can be, I think, mostly used to incriminate, or can be used to incriminate us.
Sure.
But depending on the situation, it can be used to incriminate the ones in power. So, look at, the Epstein case, even reports of Clinton basically being blackmailed by Israel on account of his relationship with Monica Lewinsky, like back in the day. Like, people weren't necessarily talking about that, but like, that's a thing. And I think Bibi kind of threatened Clinton with that, apparently, or something of that sort.
Yeah.
So, so I think just all of this just kind of thinking in terms of Israel, it's just like it. I mean, we'll probably get into more of that later, especially with our last two stories tonight. But you know, ally that we call Israel our ally, but yet it just kind of harkens to me like an abusive relationship. Like,
Yeah.
Like we pretend like they help us when they're doing all that they can to essentially hurt us, and we're just kind of sitting there and taking it because they essentially have information where they can blackmail us, and this is including our political leaders. So I think it says something that shows the depravity of our political leaders, that Israel has shit over their heads that they can use at any time to basically be like, do our bidding or we will expose you type thing. And again,
Yeah.
and I'm speculating here, like I want to make that clear, but I don't think I'm too far off the mark of this given what we've seen and heard, especially within the last year, considering Israel's actions and kind of what we've reported here. But all of this stuff is mostly for us in terms of keeping, again, control.
Yeah.
Like saying the wrong thing, doing the wrong thing, especially like, and it doesn't have to be about Israel. It could be just about anything that our politicians or the powers that be don't particularly like, that they can arrest us at any time. They could charge us. They could do anything that they want, and we have no means to stop it. So it is essentially like Big Brother syndrome, like in terms
Yeah.
of watching our move, like everything are being monitored. So
Yep.
because again, they don't want any dissent. They do not want any form of resistance or any form of like um any form of people rising up to go after the establishment. So their thing is, oh, we have to protect ourselves so that we can get to the populace first before they get to us. So that's all that this is kind of reminds me. And it's very,
Yeah. Dystopian.
just again, but it's dystopian, but again, it just gives Israel
Yeah.
like just that undertone in terms of what they're doing to us, and especially how they have our politicians in a chokehold.
So you mentioned YouTube, right? And you're not wrong. So this is from Disclosed TV. They say YouTube will begin using AI to monitor user behavior and psychology to determine whether viewers in the US are over or under the age of 18, right? So,
and I'm already asked YouTube because I think I saw something in relation to this today.
Yes,
on YouTube.
So
I think it was YouTube.
Here's how it works. This is from YouTube, right? They say we will use AI to interpret a variety of signals that help us determine whether a user is over or under 18. These signals include the types of videos a user is searching for, the categories of videos they have watched, or the longevity of the account. When the system identifies a teen user, will automatically apply our age-appropriate experiences and protections, including but not limited to disabling personalized advertising, turning on digital well-being tools, whatever the fuck those are, and adding safeguards to recommendations, including limiting repetitive views of some type of content. Right? You've watched this too much, so 18-year-old. Fucking if the system incorrectly estimates a user to be under 18, they will have the option to verify they are 18 or over, such as using a credit card or government ID. We will only allow users who have been inferred or verified as over 18 to view age-restricted content that may be inappropriate for younger viewers. Yeah, whatever the fuck that means.
Well, I mean, for us, like we say this, like pretty much all of our content is not meant for kids. And we've declared that as such on YouTube. But all the same, I don't think it's going to matter much because they can use us as an example, like as an excuse, just given what we cover, like to restrict us even. Like our channel is already restricted. So
which
it's like
to some degree, I'm like, if you probably shouldn't be watching if you're, not an adult anyway. So like, hopefully advertisers see this as an opportunity. Now you get to advertise adult content on the adult content, but whatever.
But we don't. But we don't produce popular stuff though. So
well, but anyway, this is from Kit Knightley over at Off Guardian, right? Who writes why the UK's age verification system probably won't work. The latest attempt to control the internet is just more evidence the powers that be never really understood it, right? So on Friday, the age verification clause of the OSA officially came into force. People have been Googling VPN a lot. That's a good thing. We'll get to why later. Unfortunately, much of this is stable doors and bolted horses. We've been warning about the OSA since it was first mooted by the conservatives, just to remind you that sides are an illusion, and we're rather past the point where awareness would have mattered. The new law essentially forces companies to put any, even potentially adult content behind an ID wall, meaning a user must prove their age before they access it. The ways of doing that vary. You can use credit card, let an AI-powered system scan your face via webcam to guess your age. Don't worry, it won't store the data. It's only guessing your age, not scanning your face and uploading it to some data storage center. They promised they wouldn't do that, except they already fucking have and already been leaked before. So the really vital part here is what exactly adult content means. It evokes and is indeed intended to evoke pornography. You know it when you see it, though, don't you? The act was sold as a tool to prevent children from accessing the near infinite amounts of porn scattered across the web, but pornography is the least of it. Adult content can also mean violence, suicide, animal cruelty, war, drugs, or any news coverage and or discussion of the same. It could also mean conspiracy theories, especially those which would expose children to harm, like anti-vaccine sentiment or cause radicalization, quote unquote. In fact, it can potentially mean anything it is required to mean, which is exactly the kind of thing they love to put in new laws. Just sweeping legislation is their favorite. So today, Kit wants to talk about how the OSA is going to spread, why it might not matter if it does. Over the weekend, it was widely noted on Twitter that Elon Musk's platform was putting EU-based users behind the age restriction, not just British ones. People made jokes that the US-based platform couldn't differentiate between the UK and Europe. Far more likely, they are preparing for when the EU launches its own verification scheme in the near future. Right? In our earlier story, Collin talked about how a lot of this British European law gets spread around, right? So same here. Australia, as they so often do, started this totalitarian ball rolling back in the spring. Ireland followed suit earlier this month. Canada and Mexico aren't far behind, and the US's Kids Online Safety Act is moving forward more slowly, but only the most optimistic would bet against it passing eventually. The trend is as predictable as it was inevitable. And keep in mind, states like Texas and Florida and other places have already enacted this, right? So we must ask yet again, what is the functional difference between a one world government and 197 near identical national governments? The answer is as close to nothing as makes no difference. So again, there was this YouTube thing just to keep you, that happens over here too. It's coming. That is the current model for global rule. 100 Hydra heads pretending the body they're all attached to doesn't exist. And this Hydra really wants to control the internet. The good news, at least in my opinion, is that I don't think they can. I don't think it'll work. Well, in one way it will. It will normalize people handing over IDs and asking permission. It will further accustom people to the idea that the government is looking over their shoulder and further ingrain all the habits of self-moderation and internal censorship that dictates. There's nothing you can do about that. Expect to nudge people and remind them this is not normal. Whatever the counter of normalization is, anti-normalization, weirding, but that's only half of it. The psychosocial half, the other half, actually controlling the internet, I don't think they're capable of achieving. I'm not even sure it's possible. I don't believe the internet is capable of being controlled in the way they are seeking to control it. I don't think the establishment knew for 1 second what they were unleashing when they made access to it so widely available, and I don't think they would have birthed this monster if they had known. And I think they've been playing catch-up ever since. This lack of understanding of the internet is displayed in comical and trivial terms fairly routinely. Consider the viral video of a CNN anchor asking, "Who is this 4chan?" Or David Cameron's solemn pledge to ban encryption, which is almost impossible. They just don't get it, Care Bear. They don't get it. Let's take these age verification measures as an example. We already mentioned that people are using VPNs to get around them. The talk of the government banning VPNs in response, unlikely, or making them register with the government, more likely, but that typifies the failings of imagination and approach that make it so unlikely they could ever fully succeed. They are always reacting, plugging leaks and whacking moles. They lag behind. People still torrent. Pirate Bay was shut down 50,000 times. It's still there. If one day it isn't, something else will be. There will likely be a dozen ways to circumvent the age verification system within a few weeks of it being implemented. Will only slightly slower than 17-year-olds realizing they can just click the I'm over 18 button. The internet evolves. It is dynamic and organic. When one route is blocked, informal armies of thousands of anonymous intelligences cloud compute workarounds. I'm not saying everything is fine. I'm not doing the negative panic meme. At least I don't think I am. The OSA and all the other acts like it are terrible. They enable censorship and demand surveillance. They make the environment more hostile, but not unlivable. While they are clearly a threat, I just can't see them as an existential one. I might be wrong. I might just be in a good mood and seeing ice cream castles in the air. For now, I download Tor while you can, and then whatever replaces Tor, should it get banned or bought or compromised. That's just the way the internet works, and fortunately for us, this is something the powers that be have never really understood. So, closing thoughts, Care Bear.
It just kind of reminds me like when Facebook was in vogue.
Yeah.
And technically you had to be 18 and over to have it, but I knew children as young as 10. This was
Right.
what? Like
20
like over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Like 2010. Like this was well over a decade ago, like 15 years ago now.
Yeah.
Damn, that long ago. Like like nothing was done then, like to prevent like children using Facebook. So I definitely do agree. That I think in a lot of ways that I think our governments are playing catch up to tech, because I think that's kind of the result of having like old fossils who can barely use the internet on their phones, much less being able to legislate policy that kind of controls all of that. But I'm, with Kit Knightley here, maybe he's optimistic, probably, but
Yeah.
I do believe, again, with Israel kind of being in the fray, like, I do believe that anything that our government leaders want to do and do quickly, especially if it's a means to kind of keep us in a chokehold, but in the guise of we must protect the children,
Right.
especially given our who's in office right now. It will be done quickly. It
Yeah.
won't be good, but it will be done quickly. So, but yeah, I do. Will people circumvent it? Of course, people always do. I think the question is how they're going to circumvent all of
Meanwhile,
that.
you can
But
still watch Love Island and Big Brother Tuesday night at 9. Fucking, you'll be all right. So,
right.
ugh,
Yeah, but I think again, it's the idea of censorship. I think really at the core of this, it's just so stupid. Like,
yeah,
you know, like again, censorship, especially if you're thinking of kids, it's so like it makes no sense to me. Like um y- like I'm thinking of this one example because I saw this on YouTube like some time ago. So Kids Bop, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
mm-hmm,
So I think like so the song Lady Gaga Born This Way,
yeah,
right?
mm-hmm,
So so surprisingly, Kids Bop did a cover for that song, but I think the line that they changed, or I think they just admitted was "Don't be a drag, just be a queen" or whatever. They, I think, either cut that line or changed that line, right?
yeah,
Because I guess apparently in that for them, like acknowledging that you're gay or whatever is too much for little kids.
yeah,
But I think on another record where they had like Beyonce Single Ladies, they had the whole song in full. Like that song is about what? Getting married or whatever. Like if you don't like it, killing it. Like, so it's okay to, like not have children talk about gay stuff, you know, but it's okay for young children to talk about marriage. Like again, that's just kind of like
yeah,
it's so selective and like. But if we're talking about free speech, but yes, it's partly due to free speech, but I think also it should be, and again, like in all these articles that kind of mention this, where are the fucking parents? Like the parents should be monitoring this stuff. The parents should be
yeah,
talking to their kids about this stuff. And like it's not like the children are not going to see it eventually. So not to say they should see everything like right away, but at least give them
some
the
understanding and heads
idea
up.
of what is out there that is appropriate for them to know. And then as they get older, introduce more things. Like I think, and I think that this is a danger of conservatism is that I think, well, not even conservatism, but I think just generally, like we try to shield our kids for so much stuff that you essentially are like I think it's I get it. Like there's so much stuff in the world now, especially given the social media. There's a lot more access to things that children are able to see young at a younger age. I totally get that.
Yeah,
But if you're not doing your job as a parent or someone who might be, who have children in your life to help them kind of monitor that, and have at least have them have that understanding, what kind of children, what kind of adults are they going to grow up to be, you know? So I feel like it's kind of taking away a lot of the responsibility from what parents should be doing. And it's not to say that, that like parents should be overly, like there should be some control over to what children are seeing. But look, if look, certain movies, like even as a child, well, again, different time. Certain movies like that I watched, um, like when I was younger, if it was now, probably would not watch them as a child. But the difference was, in many cases, I was watching it with my parents
right.
or with an adult. certain movies I wasn't watching by myself until I was older.
Mhm.
So, but I know children who are watching, like, certain movies, like, maybe even, like, Harry Potter, and which I would argue may not necessarily be fairly tame, but, like, there's certain movies definitely I would not watch kids watch when they're, like, 6 that they've
Yeah.
already have seen. Because Netflix makes it so easy, like, they just push a button and they can watch whatever.
Yeah, let me turn
So,
on
like
Candyman, you know?
right,
So,
exactly. Like, I remember vividly, my mom told me, like, when, what's that doll? Chucky.
yeah.
I think when the first Chucky movie came out, like, my mom told me, "Don't watch Chucky, um, because it's scary or whatever." I think it had to be about 5 or 6. My older brother let me
Hi,
watch it with him.
I'm Chucky, and I'm your friend to the end.
And right. And of course I got scared of it. Of course I had nightmares over it, but like instead of yelling at my brother for allowing me to watch it, my mom yelled at me because she was like,
Yeah.
"I told you not to watch that
Not to
mess."
watch it,
You
right.
know?
Look
Right.
away.
But again, like right. But I feel like now, like the children are actively saying, "Oh, I watched this." I'm like, how? So again, I think just a different time with just how easy it is to have these kind of access. Like I think families are kind of more even not aware or more nonchalant when I think if anything now in this day and age, you have to be way more careful. But that should be on the parent. All this to say, that should be on the parents to make that help children make those decisions and talk about these things appropriately as they need to.
Yeah.
Like, that shouldn't be the government's job necessarily to, again, do it in the guise of protecting the children when no, it's just really a way just to monitor our actions and punish us for it for things that really should be none of your damn business.
Just I'm ready for more tyranny and censorship. That's what I'm preparing myself for.
Sure.
You know?
Tyranny requires constant effort.
Constant effort. All right. Well, talking about these things is certainly why YouTube's demonetized us, and you'll probably have to put your ID in to, watch us anyway. So while you're there, you might as well go to ko-fi.com/Indie News Network and send us over a couple of dollary dues. Help keep the lights on over here. You can scan that QR code, or links are always in the description below. But we get it. Times are tough. Money's tight. Just like and subscribe. Do all the algorithm stuff. Share the video. Leave a comment. What censorship are you worried about coming next? Otherwise, thanks for watching.